Hey guys, it's Let's Game Ontario 146 Time Crisis, the arcade game. And this is a blast from the past. This game came out in 1995 and wow, it's so cheesy. I knew going into this game it was super cheesy, but wow, like the voice acting and there's some famous lines, like something like, "We have invaders," and the bad guy says, "What?" And it's just the voice acting is so crazy. But anyways, so this week I'm recording, we're doing something a little bit different, sort of a holler back on what we did years ago. We tried doing a round couch, as I called it, and now we're going to have two other people joining me that are helping out. We have Corey.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And also Justin.
Yep.
Yeah. You can. Anyways, they're helping out, and we just tried Time Crisis, and yeah, the first one from 1995. So, what do you guys think? Like, you guys didn't get to play it as much as, say, I did, and like.
Well, this is the first time I've ever seen the game, but
yeah.
I played like similar games to that. And
yeah.
Where,
Bioshock,
Alien 51 or Area 51.
Yeah, see, that's
stuff
what
like
they have
that.
at
And then
Arcadia
there was I think it's called Bio. Like, it was almost like the first.
Yeah, Bio.
Bioshock or Bio, not Bioshock.
Biohazard. Yeah. So
basically, I played those with my brother in the arcade. And
yeah.
It feels like really similar to that, and I think that it's got its moments where it's like, oh, it's like that was the best graphics at the time, so it blew like.
Yeah, it's and now
decent graphics. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like you never seen that before in an arcade game, really. Like, I mean, like your Mortal Kombats and stuff like that.
Mortal Kombat at the time was like, holy crap! Look at all that buckets of blood and everything. The digitization you've never seen. I think that was the first mainstream game that had those digital characters.
I believe so. Rotoscoping, I believe, is what they call it.
Yeah,
The other person actually
exactly.
moves.
I like how you duck and cover and then reload and then get back up and shoot.
Exactly. So there's a certain strategy element too. Like,
yes.
We didn't have the pedal, unfortunately. That really adds to the game.
It was a different experience from
instead
what we
of
did.
using an Xbox 360 controller. It's like,
yeah,
woo!
it was probably finicky, like you couldn't aim properly.
That was like, woo!
If you could calibrate it, that would be like a little bit better. But I mean, with that program.
We were kind of like, we were all chilling and
just sitting around.
hanging out as, since we just pretty much met today.
So
from suggestion. Yeah, from suggestion from a guy that knew you guys, and so. Yeah, we just decided, hey, let's all record.
We all like games. Let's play.
Yeah.
I love video games, so let's go.
Unfortunately, I have Metal. Death Angel's not a video game, but yeah, unfortunately, my Ontario Gaming Con shirt, I was wearing for 2 days, so it was definitely needed to be
It's good.
Yeah, too well worn.
But Time Crisis is a very good game. I remember the game on actual arcades.
Yeah.
You had the gun that you could actually move and maneuver around, and
that's
you
the other thing.
down the scope. That was
sort of get the feeling of the game with that controller versus before when I was like, ooh, dodge.
Well, The thing is with the mouse and key, like the mouse and keyboard is kind of like, especially on a laptop where your wrist will touch the touchpad and it'll open up programs.
Yeah, Windows key. Oh, that's realistic.
It gets you it distracts you from playing the actual game, or it screws you up in the game.
Yeah.
But like I said, when I suggest the controller, it's like it just feels like, oh, you're.
It's a bit more like having something tangible, so it feels more.
Yeah.
Even though I was gonna almost say like it's almost like a gun, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
But it's something to hold.
It's something in your hand.
Yeah, it's something physical, tangible, right?
Yes.
So.
And when they came out on the PlayStation, it actually came with a gun, like a controller peripheral. So if they had something like that, that would have been interesting. But PC gaming, what are you gonna do?
They should make
arcade
PC.
I think they do have them. It's just since these games were like, I think. I could be mistaken, but I think Time Crisis was sort of the game that brought in the huge fad. Yeah, it's like Guitar Hero, like Guitar Freaks, if I recall, was the game that brought in like Guitar Hero later. maybe a year or two later, if I remember the timeline.
I remember there being some.
And it was a Japanese guitar, and like it was a Japanese game, and then
they
thought,
drum one too, didn't they?
yeah, drum mix. I think it was
Yeah.
master mix, something like that. But yeah, like this was the game I think that really made that whole gun movement explode, like Area 51, as you said, and like.
That's the one.
I can't think of them right now, other than House of Dead. Like that's another one.
Another one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Silent Scope.
Silent Scope, yeah, which they have, I think. I think they have number 1 at Barcadia.
Oh, that's right too.
Here.
And that's actually the one I remember where you can, when you look into
Zoom
the scope, that's the one. where you
Deer
can see
Hunter
it,
was later for the arcade. Where
Yeah, Deer Hunter's another. See, for me, like, I don't know, maybe it's just my personality, but like I find with this Silent Scope, like, I know you're supposed to shoot people for the head ideally, but I always like, okay, I'm gonna really mess this guy, like shoot them in the butt or something, and
well,
I don't know, that's
see
just
how
me.
they react if they fall down or
Yeah, it's like
grab
Goldeneye,
themselves.
right? Like they grab themselves and
Yes,
if
yes.
you shoot them in the butt, so
And
it's
they hop
also
around the
made
screen,
things
something like that.
more fun that way.
Yeah, it's something like when I was playing the game and docking, you get to blow up crates to to. I think it's called like the
there's like
area
dynamite or something in
yeah, to kill the explosion to get the area.
to clear out as many guys, get more points.
And the score that it's you're trying to get the high score, right? And you get on to the next area.
Yeah.
And so like it's a classic game.
Cleared a couple, 3 stages before we done.
Yeah, they it's kind of a weird system because each game's a bit different, but this game there's like 4 stages and then you clear the first stage, but then you're on stage 2. So it's sort of confusing the way that they did it. They didn't do it like 1-1, 1-2, which is a bit clearer.
Yeah, so you can understand. It's just sort of like
you're like, oh, I almost beat the game, and it's like, oh no, you just finished like the first
Stage.
third. If you look at how they calculate it.
That's right. Yeah,
That's the way they did it back then, right? Like
Yeah,
they
like
wanted you to clear a certain stage, and then that's done, and then go on to the next 4 stages of that one stage.
Exactly. So if you get stuck against the helicopter, like I was playing the game. When I played the game, I played it with someone else, as I was telling these guys, and we got maybe to the second stage, but we were having we kept hitting the Windows key, and I found there was another button. So, but once I got to the helicopter, unfortunately, that version of the game, the second helicopter when you're outside the castle, that version you can't actually destroy the helicopter unless you have like an instant hit kill code activated. So I had to pretty much stop there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't normally happen in the arcade, like you would.
That opportunity.
Well, because it's original on PC, so it's
so there's some sort of weird emulation issue with that version of the game, because
classic mem issues. They always have.
Emulator issues. So
some games were very unique, understandable.
Yes. But I'd say, having played through this whole game, it's always hard when you review a game much later. Like, I know a lot of people, for example, GoldenEye, a lot of people are like, oh, this game looks bad, but it's like, to me, I can sit in and play it, even though it's like 19 years later, right?
Yeah,
you
back then, that was like the best graphics at the time.
It was like,
well done, but it was, then they brought it actually back and redone the graphics and released, I think. What did they release it for? I forget what system they released it for.
I think it was the Xbox and the PS3.
They re-released
with
it.
Daniel
It wasn't as good as the actual
because they didn't want to get sued by using, but I was just bringing that up because of like the different textures and like how games age. And this game really has not aged if you are kind of sensitive to how games
some of the graphics
look from like
very polygony.
Yes,
I was very I like
second gen maybe.
Yeah, I like the new graphics and stuff like that. But you know, when I see like an old Nintendo game and has that like grainy graphics, it just brings you back to when you were a kid and where you got that experience.
I don't think they date as much, honestly, because when you see the polygons, it's like this looks a little bit blocky.
Yeah. So they don't age as well as.
The sprites, you can be more forgiving. It's just like faces, like.
The details of it all,
well, with people's faces, people are more forgiving of something that looks like sort of like someone's face rather than something that's like perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Time just how we are in the sense that it looked drawn. because if you looked at the faces, although they were very
Yeah, they
square,
sort of like patched like a texture on top.
yeah,
sort
like
of
somebody
like
had
the
drawn
line.
the eyes in. You could
Yeah.
see the lids.
They didn't try and like make the whole face
It was like an
blocky
artist that
like
made it,
Sega
actually, yeah.
Saturn
It
games.
was like an
Yeah.
artist actually had to draw all
Sega
that.
games did that, like
That's true.
like
they
with
used
Virtua Fighter 1 or 2, I think is what you were
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
Yeah.
They used to just like it'd be a perfect like a square with
The
like
nose
just
is
a
like
thing on it. Yeah.
It's, I don't know, 40 polygons or something.
Yeah,
and it's
it
like
was
all
like
bent.
that.
Like,
One of
a
the
lot of triangles.
One of the games
Yeah.
that we played that was really blocky like that would be would have to be for the N64. There was like Mario 64 was like kind of like, well, not kind of like that.
oh yeah,
It's classic.
Some of the
Super
Mario
Mario
games where you're
64.
looking around and stuff like that.
yeah, first gen
Stuff.
like that sort of era was like, hey, we could do it, but
Yeah.
hey, it looks kind of rough now
Yeah.
We
because
can
like,
approximate.
yeah, exactly. We can't do any more, so this is good. enough.
Star Fox was one of them. That was like
Yeah.
the polygon like
With
what
the extra
guys-
effects.
Yeah, like the first Star Fox.
Original polygon.
I think this game, like it's not a bad game, but I think if you go back to it, it just has that sort of feel to it. Like I think the voice acting is kind of cheesy, and like some people will be partial to it, but it still feels kind of dated. Versus like House of the Dead, say 3 or 4, which is a bit more recent. You can
Well,
be a
they
bit
hired
more-
other actors, voice
Exactly.
actors.
So they're probably just like
Like, do you remember like Command and Conquer where they actually had actors doing the scenes?
exactly yeah.
Where
Proper
today
actors.
it would be tabooed for that. It had to be
Yeah.
all like CGI, like kind of like cartoonish acting, and then voice acting afterwards. It wouldn't be like
Yeah.
actually actors going on screen going, "Hey, this is what's
I
happening."
think back then they sort of got like whoever they could,
Yeah.
like get into the studio and just
Just
spend
sort
like
of
5
do it,
minutes
yeah.
doing it. Like now it's like, okay, it's got to be a A-list celebrity.
Person.
We need
like
someone
a
from
cave
like
person.
popular TV show like Game of Thrones. Like
Yeah.
that's sort of the
Peter
mentality.
Dinklage.
So the mentality's like totally swung out,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
And then
from
they'll
like
take that popular
nobody
person
to like
and
a
replace
hassle.
them.
A-list actors. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
like,
I've
it's
had
totally
like this under my
changed.
belt, this under my belt.
Mm-hmm. So
It's
we're
like-
kind of like totally cultural now.
Yeah, it's basically.
Yeah. But yeah, about the actual game, I find I can play it, but like after having beaten it, there's no story whatsoever, which isn't really a problem I found.
No. It's more
Because
about
like
the-
it's about
Yeah.
it's about you having dodging, shooting, and
Just
just
how that
enjoying that.
feels,
Yeah,
yeah,
like the
feels good.
experience, right?
Yes, it's one of those things that you go out just to do, to play, to
Yeah,
shoot bad
because
guys.
without
Get-
spoiling the
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
like you're rescuing the girl,
Yeah.
obviously, which you learn in like the
Always
first
rescue
20
somebody,
seconds.
right?
Yeah,
So
and then you kill guys, and then you have to get the heck out of there. And
Bad
then,
guys, mind you.
Yes,
Yes,
don't kill
yes.
random people. It's bad.
Yes.
They won't like that.
that we frown upon that.
Yes, yes. And then you escape. It's like a classic James Bond plot. Like
Yeah.
really, when you cut it down, there's not really
A whole lot of
Yeah,
times,
like,
yeah,
between point A and B. There's like a smidgen of plot.
Yeah. But having said that, it's a classic game.
It's a classic game that will bring you back to play because it's one of those like who can get the high
It's
score.
sort of, I think, started.
If you get a bunch of people playing it, you can see who's the best. They're like, oh, I
Yeah.
got through this stage, and they're like, oh, well, if I can't get through this stage, I can hand it off to you to play.
Yeah.
And since we're playing on PC, we can play it as long as we
Yeah,
want because
we
we
have
don't have to feed
infinite
quarters into it. But I imagine a lot of people lost a lot of money playing that as a kid. Like,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Just
Time
feeding quarters
limit,
into
Yeah,
it.
time limit.
or
They want
Ninja
you to-
Turtles was
Yeah,
like
I
a great
remember
example.
watching some guy play Mortal Kombat, and he never
Yeah.
lost, and he
Oh,
was
wow.
always there, and they saved his
Like a
spot
machine
basically.
or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Terminator.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I remember like waiting until the
That was
guy
good.
leaves and taking over his character, and he had like
Oh wow,
the first chord I put in there, and like
that's crazy.
getting killed off by the other players that were there for waiting to play it, right? Like within 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the way the arcade was back then.
Mhm. Like if you were there, you could be there for almost as long as you wanted,
Yeah.
which is kind of
classic.
why Arcadia is like, please be courteous to other
So,
people that
yeah.
want to spend.
And that's
quarters.
just a really interesting
Yeah.
way to mix in gaming and drinking. I imagine if
Yeah.
hopefully they don't get any bad publicity that like someone smashing their games because they were getting a little too.
Yeah, I've actually, unfortunately, I've already seen, like I was only there once, but I saw like people, you know, getting kind of rough with the games. So, but I mean, that's
They're
sort of
probably
what
built
I
for that,
used to
yeah.
see anyways. But
Yeah.
it's not good for the, you know,
The system.
Machines.
exactly. Especially if there
The
won't be
scene.
kids there like at night, but still
Well, I
like
don't really know if they do let kids in
they
there.
do like kids. Yeah, the
Well,
kids
that's
are
pretty
allowed.
nice that they do that. Like that's really interesting because I mean, a teenager of today doesn't even know what they are. They're used
Exactly.
to their Xbox
They're just
360s
used to
and
their
their
phone pretty much.
yeah, their phone
Well,
and,
and
their,
always
like,
having Wi-Fi or internet. Like,
exactly. Like they don't go out and actually do these things. And when they do experience them, that'll be like oh, this is what mom and dad used to play. Or
Yeah, like you actually had to wait for the game to load.
exactly.
That's
The load
This
screens.
game, you had the Windows came on 30 discs, and now it's like, oh yeah, you just download from the
Oh, I remember a
internet.
little bit smaller than that, like maybe
Yeah.
9 discs. Well, I mean, like
Yeah.
since I've been from the
I
era.
remember like Monkey Island being like freaking 10 discs. Or,
Yeah.
Monkey
Yeah.
Island. I've never played the first Monkey Island, but my brother had it on disc, and I think because Zip was like kind of rare at the time, or
Yeah.
rare or
Yeah.
RAR
It wasn't compressed, like everything was
Yeah.
on those.
on those discs. Like I have a System Shop, for instance.
Yeah.
I have the original discs, and someday maybe like we'll pull that out and.
Yeah, I think I have it on GOG, which is kind of like Steam.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they were
They're
giving it for
free,
free.
right?
Yeah, they were giving for free a few weeks ago. So, without this being going on too late, did you guys have any like other final thoughts? I didn't want you to. I'm more concerned.
Oh
about-
yeah, with the time.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay. That's okay. No, final thoughts on the game. I really liked it. It was funny when we booted it up. I was happy to see how bright it was.
Very
how-
colorful. Yeah,
You were right
yeah.
about
Very
the-
happy shooting game.
Yes, you were right about.
Versus like, sorry, Area 51 or
Yeah, the
House of the
darkness, just a
Dead
lot of
or,
bleed,
Yeah.
like dark blood.
I found it ran very well. It didn't. The only thing that wasn't really well was the sound, but I mean, you can tweak that anytime you want because it's PC. You can do
Yeah,
basically anything you want on it.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, you know, it brings back a lot of memories of going to the arcade,
Exactly.
doing
That's the thing I
the
love.
classic thing that we, like, older people, like, at our
Had that
generation do.
experience.
Yeah, and you know, it's just got that fun spice to it.
Yeah.
You just want to pick it up and play.
What I
Especially
just
if you have
realized
it.
now
Yeah.
was the fact that thinking back at how horrible House of the Dead 1 looked, this game actually aged better than I realized.
Oh, yeah,
Versus
it's-
some other games that around that time, I don't remember. I think House of the Dead was in what 96, so a year.
It's
later.
91 maybe?
So they had
I'm not sure.
more-
I think it was near
Textures.
the end of the arcade era, maybe, or starting of it. It depends. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, it depends on. I don't know really the research about it, but it's
Mhm.
like it was one of the ones that my brother and I played.
Yeah.
Also, like the Mortal Kombat's, can't think of the name,
Okay.
but it has. It's on PC too,
Okay.
but you
Capcom
play-
vs. Marvel.
No, not Capcom versus Marvel. Yeah, but it's I forget what the name of it is, but it can be a warrior or a.
Oh, time something.
Not time something. It's
You're talking about Time Killers.
not time
That does
killers.
sound like that.
But it's something like that where you put your pump your quarters in and it's a side scroller, and you
Oh,
basically
yeah.
it's a beat 'em up game where you kill the players on the demons or
Turtles
something.
in time.
Not Turtles in Time, but
Oh.
it's like that though. It was one of the first games that actually inspired that, I think.
I think I know the game.
It starts with a
Okay.
C. Not Conan, but something like that.
Yeah.
Something like
I, yeah. I don't.
I think Conan
I
was
think you have
actually
a completely different game. That's the problem here. I'm talking
We're
about
going-
fighting game. You're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't. That's what.
Probably want to edit that.
Anyways, yeah, so that's what I just, I realized, like, compared to House of the Dead, I think House of the Dead had better textures, like, more diverse
It was
textures.
really bright, yeah. It was,
And,
colorful.
but now it was, like, all jaggy and blocky, but I think this game in comparison, like, it definitely seemed to age better, even though it definitely has
I
aged.
was gonna say, yeah.
It was one of those good games that, like you said, you wanted to pick up, you want to play it, and then you
Mhm.
see it. Many more games to come, probably, to play.
Yeah.
I've seen,
Hopefully.
I've seen
Yeah.
I scanned some of your games that you had on there, and hopefully we get to open those up and play them.
Yeah.
And hopefully the sound is a little bit better, but we will work on that.
Yeah, we'll just have to look into the mics a bit more in the
Yeah.
next bit, but, I mean, you gotta start somewhere, and,
Well, this
it
is where
gets
it started, right?
One time we can get something on video.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts for you? I know.
I think it was a great game. I'm glad to finally
You
get
wanna
a chance
try
to
the next
talk.
one?
We gotta try the next one.
Can't
Exactly.
kill the next one, yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, we'll just wrap it there. And these guys, I really appreciate them helping out. And maybe we'll get a few more in the next few days, and we'll just start with this one and go from there and catch up with. Unfortunately, we're not keeping up with the weekly ones, but we're gonna catch up.
We'll work on it.
Then do that. Yeah, get it done. So.
We'll get it back on schedule.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, anyways, until then, guys, keep on gaming. Adios for now.
Take care.
Take care.